If you had just 18 seconds to react, what would you do? The sea was calm, the morning air thick with haze. An MH-60R Romeo from the US Navy held position, 24 nautical miles off the coast of Yemen. The crew was steady, focused. It felt like any other mission. Then the radar blinked. A faint contact appeared for a moment, then gone. No transponder, no civilian response. The FLIR turret swung toward the blip, but in this heat-soaked atmosphere, nothing stood out. Just a weak thermal bloom, barely noticeable. But it was moving, and it was headed straight for USS Gravely, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer worth over $1 billion. No ID, no warning, no voice on the radio, just a single decision, and only seconds to make it. The radar chirped, once, then again. The crew had just finished an outer scan sweep when the screen flickered. A small contact, brief, barely at the edge of the scope, bearing 045, altitude around 2,200 feet, low flight profile, constant speed, but no identification, no IFF, no civilian transponder, just silence. The tactical operator switched to air-to-air mode. The ANAPS-153 filtered out sea clutter. Wave contours vanished. Concentric rings reappeared, and that contact returned. Sharper, clearer. Tiny, radar cross-section no bigger than a seabird, but it moved with intent. No drift, no wobble, locked on a path. The pilot narrowed his eyes. This part of the Red Sea is known for surface reflection noise, false echoes from humidity and wave bounce. It fools radar all the time. But this wasn't clutter. Only one object had pierced the interference, and it was flying straight toward USS Gravely. It wasn't lost. The FLIR turret spun into position. The AN/ASQ-44 sensor, mounted under the Romeo's nose, began its scan. It's designed to detect thermal differences as small as 0.08 degrees Celsius, even through smoke, dust, or pitch black skies. But today, the air over western Yemen was hotter than usual. The delta between sea and sky was nearly zero. Midwave IR scanning was useless. The drone's heat signature dissolved into the background. The pilot dropped altitude, adjusted the angle. The crew switched to dual band mode, searching for contrast in both IR spectrums. Nothing solid, no defined thermal mass, no outlines, no familiar shape of a man-made airframe, just a faint dot, sometimes there, sometimes gone, blurring into the haze. The pilot clenched the stick. Something was out there, something real, but the FLIR couldn't give it a name. In modern warfare, the most dangerous thing isn't what you see, it's what you almost see. The contact kept moving. Speed held steady, about 270 knots, but it didn't fly straight. It jinked left, banked right, then stabilized again. No obvious pattern, but no randomness either. The crew noticed something off. This wasn't a human pilot, no input lag, no time-delayed corrections, no command signal across known control bands. Instead, it moved with algorithmic precision, a pre-programmed sequence, executing a logic tree. This drone was flying itself. I was in control. No uplink needed, no radio handoff, no fear, no panic, no hesitation. Unlike a manned threat, this one couldn't be jammed. It wouldn't flinch under pressure, and it wouldn't stop unless destroyed. The behavior told the story. This wasn't a remote-controlled UAV. This was autonomous, and it was on mission. The crew marked the track. Probable autonomous drone. In modern warfare, it's not the drone with the biggest warhead that's most dangerous. It's the one that doesn't need permission to pull the trigger. The target was closing in. Both radar and FLIR confirmed the same picture. No ID, no civilian codes, no IFF, no comms, just a few nautical miles out. The pilot activated the Link 16 channel. Flight data, trajectory, signal profile, thermal imaging streamed in under 1 second. Below deck, a tactical officer on USS Gravely reviewed the feed. Likely a SAM-D3 drone. No missiles, but packed with enough explosives to tear through a destroyer's hull. The crew transmitted the call, Venom 04, positive ID, requesting weapons free. The cockpit fell silent. No one had fired yet. Visual contact wasn't confirmed, but a wrong call could cost 300 sailors their lives. The reply came back, Gravely to Venom 04. You are clear to engage. Weapons free. Romeo banked hard. The gunner locked in. The GAU-21 spun up, only seconds to get it right, and just one miss to lose everything. The GAU-21 thundered. The burst shook the entire frame. Barrel stabilized on a swing mount pivot at the cabin door. Rate of fire, 1,100 rounds per minute. Shot dispersion, under 2.5 mils at 400 meters. Tight enough to stay within the width of a drone's wing. First burst, gone. Bright orange tracers sliced the haze, searing lines through the fog. They missed, just off the UAV's right flank. The pilot slowed slightly. Romeo banked left, reduced vibration, shortened the shot gap. The gunner adjusted, compensated for speed and drift. Second burst, direct hit. Rounds punched through the fuselage. One wing shredded. The drone shook, smoked, rolled. But they didn't wait for gravity. The third burst followed, ripping apart what was left. Debris scattered midair. Distance from USS Gravely, 2.5 nautical miles. Tactical crew confirmed. Splash 1. Target neutralized. No missile, no $300,000 price tag, just a GAU-21 and a $20,000 threat handled. The radar lit up again, one contact, then two, then three, all faint, all near the outer edge. Not stable, but not vanishing either. No ID, no transponder pings, no FLIR lock, but the flight paths told the truth. Every one of them pointed toward USS Gravely. The crew realized the first drone was bait. Now the real swarm was coming. Spread formation, low signature, possibly stealth shaped to scatter radar return. This was a drone swarm, not meant to kill a warship with firepower, but to drain its defenses dry. A Samo D3 drone costs $20,000, but killing it? That could take a precision shell, CIWS burst, or guided missile, each shot worth $100,000 to $300,000. React instinctively to every blip, and you burn through everything before the real battle even starts. In modern war, victory isn't always about who hits hardest. Sometimes it's about who tricks the other side into firing first. The radar still couldn't lock a clean track, but the ESM had something to say. Inside the cabin, the AN/ALQ-210 display shifted tones. A faint S-band signal pulsed into view. Weak, sporadic, but definitely not background noise. Right in the band used for mid-range UAV control. The crew stepped back, ran the profile against the library. Low strength, but the modulation was wrong. No match to known Houthi drone variants. The burst lengths were irregular, unstable, unfamiliar. Possibly a new platform, or a controller that wasn't fixed in place. It could be a fishing boat, a mobile relay, or something beyond the horizon. The danger wasn't where it came from, it was how it stayed hidden. The signal blinked in and out, on for seconds, then silence. A technique called interrupted control, short bursts designed to avoid detection by radar or warning receivers. This wasn't just another suicide drone, this was next-gen electronic warfare, where the most dangerous weapon is the signal you can't lock. The cockpit shattered with warning tones. Missile launch left side. The alert voice cut in sharp. Red lights flashed. The missile warning system had locked onto an inbound heat seeker. Mach 2.2 from the Yemeni coast. No time to think, only reaction. The pilot yanked hard right, dropped altitude fast. G-forces slammed the crew into their seats. But the Romeo didn't fight alone. The ALE-47 countermeasure suite activated instantly. It classified the threat, calculated closure rate, and fired back automatically. Flares launched. 6, 7, 8, each burned at over 2,000 degrees Celsius, blazing through the haze like miniature suns. Out the cockpit window, a white contrail cut the sky. The missile closed, then veered. It locked onto the fourth flare and detonated midair. The blast hit 200 yards off. Shrapnel pinged the fuselage. No systems down. From alert to action, 8 seconds flat. No buttons, no commands, just reflex and survival. And one system, doing exactly what it was built to do. The blast had just faded, but the crew didn't retreat. Even after dodging a man-pad strike, the Romeo held its forward position south of USS Gravely, not out of courage, but out of tactical necessity. Pulling back now would create a sensor gap, a blind spot between the drone and the ship's defenses. Gravely's long-range radar can't track low-flying UAVs hugging the sea. Its FLIR lacks the angle for surface scanning, but Romeo fills that gap perfectly. Back aboard the destroyer, the CIWS pivots fast. 20mm barrels lock onto the new threat vector. Another drone enters range, then turns back. Maybe it saw Romeo still holding position. Maybe it was just testing the response. The crew suspects deception. The first drone draws attention. The helicopter reacts, and a missile launches when Romeo leaves its line. A two-step kill tactic, distract, then strike. But this time, they didn't take the bait. The drone was down. The missile was diverted. The crew survived. But no one saw this as a clean victory. The AN/ALQ-210 kept sweeping, and the strange signal was still there. Weaker now, different frequency, but still active. Something out there was still transmitting, maybe a small stealth UAV, maybe a relay node from an offshore vessel, or maybe just the opening move of a planned campaign. The crew relayed the report to USS Gravely. Tactical phase complete, strategic threat ongoing. Radar, FLIR, and ESM data streamed back to CENTCOM synced, verified, logged. The patterns told a story, a deliberate probe, a test of Navy response under pressure. This wasn't random, it was designed to trigger reactions, to observe tactics, to map out our defense playbook. If they pull back, we note it. If they fire wrong, we record it. If they waste ammo, we exploit it. This isn't just an engagement, it's a rehearsal, and the next move may have already begun. One drone was shot down, one missile diverted, the crew is safe. USS Gravely remains untouched. But that's not the full story. Every signal we intercepted, every thermal trace we tracked, every radar sweep we made was analyzed, stored, learned from. They didn't need to hit a warship, they didn't need to destroy a helicopter. All they needed was to make America react, to trigger our defense systems, to burn through live ammunition, to force a shift in formation, or worse, to make us withdraw from the battle space. This is a new kind of war, not one of missiles, but one of signals, where every faint heat bloom on a FLIR display could be bait, and every reflexive action could be turned into a strategic weakness. So ask yourself this, how would you respond if the next strike had already begun before the first shot was ever fired? Follow Goba if you want to see what happens before it even begins.